Yo, yo, Mr. 300C in the place to be. It's my Jigga flow, man. My Jay-Z flow right there. Psych. Yo, check it out. There is a petition that I found out about the Hemi V8 engines from this company in Ohio. Fedrick's Scat Pack, known as the Big Challenger guy. So Bob Fedrick is the name of this guy. He has a dealership in Ohio. He's well known in the industry apparently. He can get you Scat Pack or a Hellcat, and he sells the most of them out of anyone in the country. I don't know how true that is, but that's what his site says. But anyway, so Homeboy put together a petition to save the V8s, and so we're going to read this together, share some thoughts. But he wrote to the CEO of Dodge, Tim Knuskis. We all know who that is. Head of sales, Jeffrey Kamor. And then obviously the big wig himself, Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares. So in this letter he's writing to them in this petition, he says, everyone knows that the most exciting showrooms in the auto industry are Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler dealerships. They don't just make transportation, they make dream cars, sport utilities, and trucks. This is where we find the Charger and Challenger Scat Pack 392, Hellcat and Red Eye. This is where we find the Ram TRX, Jeep Wrangler 392. And he's pretty much saying there's a lot of adrenaline that these models have. That is true. I agree. Great brands, as we know, great engines, and there's nothing else like them in the industry for cars. Next paragraph, he goes, the Hemi is the magic of the heart of it all. Whether it's a 9-year-old kid or an 80-year-old man or woman, the first words out of their mouth when they come up to one of our products is, that thing got a Hemi in it.
That thing got a Hemi in it.
Had to throw the accent in there. And he puts in bold, yes, that's important, and no further manufacturer has anything close. That's true. I agree. There's nothing like a Hemi. There really isn't. Other V8s don't compare. He goes on to say, it appears there is a globalist agenda at work. It threatens our way of life, and globalists don't understand us Americans, nor does it seem they care. Yeah, I would say it kind of appears that way. He continues and says, the importance of the V8 engines to us Americans is something that can't be overstated and should never be underestimated. Sure, there may be a few 4-6 bangers with turbos cranked up that could outrun a lot of V8s, but nothing pumps adrenaline through American car guy or car girl like a thundering V8 engine. Facts on facts on facts. Next paragraph, he says, with the Hemi engine scheduled to go away after 2023, Stellantis appears to be underestimating what has made their brand so intriguing and magical, the V8 Hemi. This is causing their massive following and customer base an unbelievable amount of anguish.
Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts.
Doesn't it hurt, guys, being the V8 guy right now? It does hurt. And then it continues, will be a grave mistake. We are not going to be forced away from our V8s. The question is, does Stellantis want to continue to sell us new cars, Rams, or Jeeps? Or do they want us to hang on to the last of the Hemis and not buy new cars? Worse yet. So my man's trying to break this thing down. We continue on the petition page. He puts a heading in here, does Stellantis want to lose their high-performance customers to Ford? I've seen that a lot, where Ford, obviously, it's still putting out some V8s, and they're going to be the only ones left in that segment, and Mopar fans are going to slowly start going over to Ford because they have a new dark horse Mustang coming out. Looks pretty good, I ain't gonna lie. The petition continues and says Ford's V8 will continue as an option in their Mustang. In fact, Ford just announced that the V8 will remain in their Raptor R for 2023 after several years of running an EcoBoost V6 and losing sales to Ram TRX supercharged Hemi. Interesting, right? He also goes in and says even GM, who have sold their soul to the government, they sold their soul to the government, have developed a new V8 for the Corvette. And we understand that Stellantis has to pay government fines to sell us Hemis, but the price increases in 2022 should be more than enough to cover those costs. We've been paying an imposed gas guzzler tax for decades. That's a good point. I don't know if it's enough fees and fines that the consumer pays for the cost of these V8s being sold to us, right? But it's a fair assumption that he has there. Next section, Homeboy says we want our Hemis and are willing to pay for them. Now there's a little caveat to that, because Me personally, I'm not overpaying for a Hemi. I'm just saying, I'm not. This guy, because he's a bigger enthusiast than I am, he's willing to pay more. Good for him. If he got to go out to do so, good for him. But not for me. He continues and says, our intent isn't to tell Stellantis to forget the Hurricane i6 engines or their plans for an electric muscle car. We're just asking that they don't eliminate our V8 Hemis. Keep them available. That's what I'm saying, man. I wish they would have kept it available and, gave us more options. But, it is what it is. He says they're a guaranteed hit. To just drop them and toss all their eggs into one basket would be a huge mistake and will alienate us fanatics, which is true. Stellantis should and must keep the magic alive in their brands by keeping the heart of the magic available to us buyers. The availability of the Hemis will sell more of the non-Hemi models than ever possible without them. Another facts. They just basically didn't listen to their consumer base. Dodge did listen to their consumer base and got pressure from Stellantis, who's running the show. Stellantis definitely didn't listen to Dodge. Maybe they were trying to pitch them about, we got to take care of our fans, our core buyers. I don't know. I'm not in those conversations. But now he goes into a little history lesson. He says, this is 1972 all over again. I wasn't born then. I don't know all the details about that. I was born 1982, 80s baby. He says, does anyone at Stellantis remember what happened at that time? Chrysler fell for GM saying, quote, the Camaro and Firebird will be gone after 1974, and Ford said the same of the Mustang. Plymouth dropped the Barracuda, and then Dodge dropped the Challenger and destroyed the Charger, and the GM and Ford laughed all the way to the bank. He also said Chrysler fell into one of the worst periods of its existence and was bankrupt by 1980. On the back end, GM sold millions of Trans Ams, Z28s, all through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Ford did the same exact thing. Said Ford never wavered through the darkest times and has had the Mustang every year since 1964. So we had that huge turnout that happened there. You guys can correct me. Maybe my education on that subject isn't good. But from what I understand, there was a gas crisis or energy crisis, and so they were getting rid of big engines back in those days, and that's when Dodge took the bullet. But apparently Ford and GM kept going forward during this crisis, the whole muscle car era. So then there was a huge hiatus, a huge break, and then it didn't happen until 2005 when FCA brought Chrysler out. Shout out to the SRT8 Chrysler 300C, which I got because that's where it started to reinvigorate everything again. Put the V8 back onto the market, and there we go. And now we have what we have today. So this guy's saying basically history is repeating itself for Chrysler, aka Stellantis. He says that we are a legion of Mopar enthusiasts. We implore Stellantis to keep the V8 Hemi into 2024. Don't destroy what Sergio and FCA built. Sergio, rest in peace, passed away. He was the CEO of FCA. He had a different vision than what the current president of Stellantis has. The petition says Sergio led the most prosperous period in Chrysler's history, and he did it with quality vehicles that consumers wanted to buy. Not to mention, the purpose of these Mopars were to be affordable for the average man. And for the most part, I think he was able to do that before he passed away. Petition continues, says, look at your order banks. More people want your Hemi-powered vehicles than you have the capacity to produce. Even with $5 to $8 per gallon of gas, the government still can't force electric vehicles on us, nor do they have the infrastructure to support them. Yes, we all know the EV infrastructure is not ready for a mass production for consumers to adopt. It would crash the grid, break everything, and it would suck because it's not ready. But yet the push is still happening down our throats. Petition goes on and says, listen to your customers and keep stealing market share away from manufacturers that are determined to fall in line. Be the rebellious company that you've been in recent years, and you will continue to dominate. That's what I love about Dodge. Dodge was always rebellious, right? Always went against the grain, went against the rules, and they were very successful in their niche market, right? And they were owners of that market share. V8 muscle cars, solid, very unique, always did well, good profits. But yeah, they gotta listen to the customers. That's like the number one rule in any business. You really gotta listen to your customers. When you start thinking you know more than what your customers want, then you have a big problem long term. His last paragraph, he says, "We need your support based on our conversations with current customers and Mopar enthusiasts. Passions for the V8 Hemi is stronger than ever. Please take a moment to let your voice be heard and show them just how passionate we are about our Mopars." So yeah, so that's basically what the petition's all about. If you guys want to sign it, go ahead, put your information down below, and you can leave a comment as well and submit it. Me personally, I probably won't submit anything because I know like this is gonna fall on deaf ears. It's just a valiant effort of, you know, someone trying to do something to turn things around, but it's not gonna happen. Stellantis already has their, you know, 4-year, 10-year plan on lock, and they're pushing EV and investing billions of dollars into this, and Dodge is just gonna be left by the wayside. And they're just hoping that these inline 6 platforms will just make everybody happy because it'll be faster than the V8s, with potential to, you know, mod them and use aftermarket parts to get, you know, Hellcat plus power. But again, it's not going to sound like a V8. It's not going to feel like a V8. Who knows? We are definitely on a sinking ship. If you still have a V8, I suggest you keep it as long as you can and take care of it, mod it, or keep it stock, but just do your maintenance on there so you can keep that as long as possible, because who knows, these cars are probably not going to come back. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on this petition. The link's in the description of the video, so if you guys feel inclined to sign up for it and or business.
And or business.
All right, man, I'm out, Mr. 300C. Peace.